So Quincy Jones now still,
yes.
yeah. Goes in front of Andre. I'm just teething your artists off here. These gospel boys are just going on too hard. So imagine this is how impactful Tomorrow was. So then Quincy Jones got his hands on them and under Warner Brothers in '85.
Let My People Go. And Let My People Go went to #1
in the US gospel charts.
Yes,
that was it says here it's their first US gospel #1, isn't it?
Yes,
really?
it is.
And then they got to number 57 in the R&B charts.
That means they were making waves now. In the R&B charts.
They had demand in that still, yeah.
Yes, demand.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
Yeah, people, this is Roger Moore here from Affinity Extra, celebrating gospel music, Black origin, and we are doing our history look back, and we just finished off 2 epic episodes about the West Coast gospel sound. You have to watch them before you watch this one anyway. So, but if you want to sneak into this one, you'll get the energy, you get the vibe, you get the spirit, you get everything from it, and you get the understanding and the contextual conversation about a sonic expression of gospel music which absolutely changed world black Christian music. Is that a big statement or?
Yes.
Is a big statement. Is that a true statement?
Yes, that's right.
West Coast gospel.
Yeah, it was part of that West Coast gospel. And don't forget the gospel that came from Detroit as well. We'll get to Detroit.
Meeting up.
But however, yes.
Yeah, because the thing is that you had other great gospel bands like Staple Singers, that had a great impact. But I feel like these West Coast dudes never had the impact. They decimated, they influenced the way we played our instruments.
That is true, but let us not forget the million seller by the Staple Singers on Cloudy Day.
Cloudy Day. Okay.
Yes, that came out. That was during the 50s.
Oh yeah.
But having said that, the collection of
the West Coast,
the choirs that came over Kojic, etc., was vitally important to the musical expression or the quality and the standard that what we adhere by or we relate to build up on our repertoire.
Cool.
Delivery.
And as we're talking, I'm going to do a bit of research into Kojic as well while we're talking and go through this anyway. But listen, guys, we just we've done Andre Crouch in our first episode. It was all around Andre Crouch. Obviously, sister, the Crouch legacy. Then the next episode was all about the Hawkins. And guys, both of them 2 artists, we can go back in again and open up certain particular hits and tracks. We can just spend a whole episode of the true impact of Oh Happy Days. If we looked at the imprint of that and what that made throughout TV, theatre, and music in general, Oh Happy Days, it's transcended all,
and also advertisement promotion.
Oh goodness sake!
And retail branding and so forth. So it's across all the different sectors. Sectors of impact. It's what you call it's an iconic recording that has impacted the culture on a global level.
Yeah, no, 100%. Be 100% with that. 100% that. I would say no. 100. I agree with that, and I think that what we are going to cover today is more. When I said my era, these guys launched their products more when I was a little baby. When I was a little boy, let me just double check that. Yes, when I was a little boy. So these guys were releasing that music, and this was you had the Hawkins now. And we have to give an honourable mention to somebody who missed out about the Hawkins. We talked about Edwin, we talked about Walter, we talked about Walter Edwin and Tremaine Hawkins. But always the person that gets missed out is Lynette Hawkins.
Yes, she's
so when
quite an accomplished vocalist. And she had a few albums, several albums out too.
And when you hear a great female vocalist and it isn't Tremaine, I'm afraid it's Lynette.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And she's a very, very good vocalist.
They are indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So, and trust me, to get the nod over Lynette, Tremaine had to be a very good singer. You know what I mean? So,
yes,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So,
had to be a very good singer. So, so Kevin, so you got these guys now in the 60s, in the 70s. You've got the Crouches. You got producing Jesse Dixons, the Patti LaBelle's, the Hawkins now are coming through, producing other people, singing with choirs and different things like that. Doing an amazing job now in going into the 70s, going into the end of the 70s. We've seen the album cover that we showed for the last one that Kevin brought in, that was recorded 79. You know what I'm saying? So we're coming into the 70s, we're coming to the end of the 80s, into the 70s now. And the key thing is, guys, the key secret to music is make sure you're ready for the next wave. Do not think that you'll always be on top. Yeah? So the West Coast, obviously, Andre Crouch, the absolute monster in the gospel industry, knew that something had to come next, because he's produced Jesse Dixon, he's worked to see the Hawkins fly, you know what I'm saying? He's in that stable, he's all hanging around with these dudes. He knew something fresh had to come with this gospel. There's a new sound coming, and it wasn't going to be Andre Crouch with a different hairstyle with this new sound. So Andre Crouch never just walked around his area and focused in his home city of San Francisco. Yeah, he went beyond there, Kevin, and he bumped into some brothers.
Yes,
that was singing. You know what I'm saying? That sang in a sweet harmony. I'm saying harmony because I've been trying to sing them harmonies for a long time.
Well, it's a certain tradition, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, man. You got brothers Ronald, Marvin. Is that right? Carvin, yes. Michael Wine. Sorry, that's Michael. These brothers now, they were
and Ronald,
you know what I'm saying,
past member, deceased.
They're part of the as you would imagine, the Ronald, the Winans family that grew up in Detroit. And so Andrew Crouch in his circuits, he going around in the circuit. He bumped into these guys, and he signed them to Light Records. So actually evidence that Andre Crouch never just sang on Light Records. He was one of the main influencers, if not running the show at Light Records. You know, so when you see artists on Light Records, you're not seeing Andre Crouch, you're thinking, oh, he ain't got nothing to do with this. He had everything to do with the Winans family having their leg up with this opportunity here. So this, and you know what I'm saying? So, yo, Kevin, just take it from there, man. Take it from there, because I know we can look at the output of albums that's from the 80, 81, 83, 84, 85. You got introducing the Winans in 81, even though they released music beforehand. And there's something as well people don't realize is that sometimes you have to realize that people release out music before you see them out there in the international scene. So for me, as somebody who scouts talent, I want to see people who know the pain and the grit. They know how to record already. They got the cojones. You know what I mean? Saying they're ready for this. Yeah. Yes. And again, this work rate of introducing the Winans, long time coming in 83. Tomorrow, I keep my left. Anyway, you know, say 84, 85. So
85 is critical.
Good.
Why is it?
Because they changed labels.
And who were they contracted to when they changed labels?
To somebody who begins with Q.
Yes.
On the West Coast.
The Master Q himself. But
it is a joke still. So Quincy Jones now still,
yes.
Yeah. Goes front of Andre, I'm just teething your artists off here. These gospel boys are just going on too hard. So imagine, this is how impactful Tomorrow was. So then Quincy Jones got his hands on them and under Warner Brothers in 85.
Let my people go. And Let My People Go went to number 1.
In the US gospel charts.
Yes.
That was actually, it says here, it's their first US gospel number 1, isn't it?
Yes,
really?
it is.
And then they got to number 57 in the R&B charts.
That means they were making waves now in the
R&B charts. They had demand in that still, yeah?
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And then and then they brought out another album, Decisions, which again got number 1 in the US gospel charts.
Correct.
Did really well, and that was underneath Quincy record. Then they did live at Carnegie Hall. I've heard it, but I need to go back and do some good listening. That's a really cool album.
Yes.
Return 1990.
Return. Okay.
See. Now this is now the certification.
Let me show you it. This one is there it is, ladies and gentlemen, on the Quincy Jones label, Quest record, QS. Quincy Jones label, in conjunction with Warner Brother Alliance.
Time to make the change, people, isn't it?
with our brother Teddy Riley of the Jack Swing generation. And
it's time. That was an absolute. Sorry, guys. These are getting flashbacks to some glorious times. Anyway, so we've been emotional because it's emotional music, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at so you got like but it's time.
Yes, that's right.
Every day the same. Every day, don't leave me. A friend, gonna be all right. And then now in these days we have to turn it over. Side 2, when you cry, together we stand. This time it's personal, free, wherever I go, wherever I.
Yes, and the thing about it, notice with the credits here, the different people.
Oh my god! Right, all right.
Take a look at the credits.
Produced by Teddy Riley. Yep.
Some of the tracks,
Yep. Co-produced with the Winans. You got like and Bernard Bell. You know what I'm saying? You got Winans are definitely in there with the production. Executive producers is Barry Hankerson and Benny Medina.
Those
Benny
people,
Medina.
Benny Medina was the artist repertoire RNA man at that time at Columbia. He was responsible for people like Maze and so forth. Different people that came through the label at that time, contracted in the Black Division. It's another story there, you know, Black Division at Warner Brothers. Okay?
Absolutely mad.
And that was this, ladies and gentlemen, this went number 1 too, you know. And this was the first gospel album to be certified at the Quest label, Quincy Jones label. And what year is that again? Just look at it.
I think it's 1990. 1990.
Yeah.
So I remember this album still. I ain't gonna lie, man. 1990. I was definitely.
That was around the same time.
I was about 14.
Yeah, that's right. That round about the same time. Back on the block, like Quincy Jones.
Okay.
Which came out on his label as well, which was a platinum certified.
So this is the US gold certification, and it's got number 1 in the US gospel charts.
Yeah.
It got number 4 in the CCM charts. Yeah, contemporary charts, and it also got number 12 in the R&B charts, and it got to number 90 in the general US music charts itself.
Oh, the 200 album charts. Yeah, the pop. Yeah.
Crazy. And when they released under the same label, Quest, I didn't realize Quest was really all out. My goodness sake.
Yeah, because he was doing with the Quest label, they were doing production with Sinatra.
Okay, so they're really going on.
And they were doing his first, Quincy Jones' actual first recording album on the Quest label was "Give Me the Night" by George Benson, the platinum and Grammy certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you got like All Out, for the ones who don't know, you got All Out that done really, really well. And then Heart and Soul that got to number 3 in the gospel charts. But I think the best album, looking at the certifications, was the Return album when it came to Winans. I think that was the album.
That was one of the, with the original members before before our brother died.
Yeah,
Before our brother died.
man. Yeah, man.
That was the last one where they were at the top of the game. They were all together. And they did that certification. It was really huge.
No, I'm looking at looking at even to the singles at the dawn. Yeah, this is a legacy that basically spanned its strength. It peaked early 90s, but it stemmed from the 80s going into the 90s.
That is correct.
So you got the influence again of Andre Crouch of the West Coast, bringing a Detroit Midwest artist into the arena of the West Coast, and the West Coast sound embracing these Midwest singers, and they're being produced on the West Coast labels from then on, from 81 on. But before then, they did produce a couple albums, from what I can tell. A couple albums in the younger days, anyway. Still, but in terms of albums that hit worldwide, Light Records and Quest Records were the platforms for them. And influence of the Winans, as we know, it influenced R&B in the late 90s, going into the 2000s.
Well, remember now,
not even 90s, just 90s.
You had right around the late 80s into the 90s, you had the jack swing style production, according to Teddy Riley, which Michael Jackson benefited from. And other people. Yes. So at that time, Teddy Riley was the in-demand studio and composer and arranger. Matter of fact, he had his studio in New Jersey. That's East Coast in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yes, East Coast. Yeah, so that production was done at Teddy Riley's studio on the East Coast.
And the
surrounding areas.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
okay,
so
that's crazy.
the Jack Swing studio album, which was I think it was a double platinum, and of course the Jack Swing, film, did over between 50 to 70 million at the box office. Jack Swing. So as I was saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, I was saying to you that during the 90s, there was 30 black soundtracks that did 500,000 and above. So the 90s was an explosion as well. It was key because you had the black music production houses, right? And also, remember Jimmy Jam doing with Janet Jackson. We haven't touched Sound of Blackness if we go back to there. So what was happening up in Minneapolis and so forth. So it's a different regional gospel sounds coming out. And this is interesting. By that time, when the Winans came out, in particular the early Winans, I'm going to talk about the duos in a minute. The record company, or the gospel music record industry, was doing about maybe 100 to 200 million gross earnings per year. Notice that time in those early days. You'd be interesting to see the figures and explosion, but that's another question. We'll talk about that later. But the Winans was part of that cultural and sonic revolution, the sound.
And for me, Winans kind of like, as my generation was coming up now, we were blessed by the Hawkins. We were influenced we saw our parents influenced by Andre Crouch them, and then we saw the Hawkins sneak in there.
That's right.
And even the Smallwoods as well, I saw growing up as well.
Yeah.
But you saw them coming through. But then Winans became a sound which we could connect to.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and
correct.
my parents enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
But then it became a sound like, songs like "Been Back the Days of Yay and Nay," like these songs influence. And I think that, a lot of what you have to realize is that 90s, I think even SWV did their Tiny Desk, and she did an interview, and she said that gospel was where they all grew up, and the gospel was an influence in majority, if not 95%, if not 99.9% of creatives hitting the world in the 90s coming out.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Coming out, yes.
Coming out to church. and
Yeah,
and,
yes, that's right,
and their
that's right.
biggest influence and their harmony structures, the Jodeci's,
Tony Braxton,
all these vocals are influenced by
yes,
Hawkins,
yes.
all influenced by Andrea Crouch, but essentially, Winans were almost that R&B vocalist sound who were sold out for gospel, but a lot of male groups really knew that could were influenced by Winans, and then the other Detroit band that came afterwards, which we're not going to get into, commissioned. Yeah.
Yes,
commissioned.
Fred Armand. Oh,
That's a whole nother. That's Detroit.
But
yeah, sorry.
Let's explain something here. Let's explain something here. Detroit is a what we call a important center for black music excellence. And remember, that's where Motown started, you see.
Okay.
So you would say the Winans is an extension of the city's cultural significance. You know, people, blacks and white, come to Detroit, to the museum, to visit it. That's how serious it is. Quite a significant city. Not for the auto industry alone, but it's for the music.
Yeah.
And the music that came out of a studio, which is called the Snake Pit. And that's another name they use for it. I know, yes. But read my book and you understand it. But then, okay, let us look at, by the way, also, when the Winans begin to explode, the industry in 1990 was doing $180 million gross earning. That is physical movement of LPs.
Which industry?
And the gospel music industry was moving that. Matter of fact, the gospel music industry gross earning in the US sector was more than many of the European countries' entire music sector at one time during the 90s. That's how big. But that's another thing, and it's going to get, even the figures are going to get more interesting. Now, let us go after. We need to give honor to the parents of these extraordinary talents.
Because Winans is not just the brothers. We just talk about the brothers.
No.
Let's talk about mum pops, bro.
This is the only album I have of Mum Pop. It was actually produced in, what year was that? I can't really see it. We'll probably have to look at the sleeve. I think you have to look at the sleeve. Inside sleeve. Do you find it? The inside sleeve is in there, I think. Here it is. Here at the inside sleeve. And let's just look at the date of this. The date of this. Oh my goodness, where it is? Come on.
They don't want to give you no information on this one.
Come on, give me the information. You probably need to look at the data because this is vitally important. It's the first album. One of the tracks is saying 1989, but it's normally on this. It normally states what year it was released, and I find that rather 89. So it could be an album that was released in 1989. Let's see. I'm going to look close. We can find that by looking at the vinyl itself. The vinyl itself and Sparrow would tell us what year it was. Yeah, it was right. 1989, yeah.
Okay, 1989. So guys, we're looking at the sleeves here, so you know it's authentic. By you know what it is, people look after their things, man. Keep it wrapped up nice.
You see how I wrap it up.
Yeah, you say, So that's Mum and Pop and Winans.
Yes.
So you got Mum and Pop and Winans, who you done a few things, and I know Pop Winans done a little album himself as well.
Yes.
So he did his little things still, he is Pop Winans, but also one of the most, I would say, out of the Winans, you gotta have to say Bebe and CeCe. Winans now, Bebe and CeCe now.
Yes.
Are they like the baby sibling? No, not the baby, because you got
they sort of they come in the middle. There's so many of them.
You got. There's nothing in a minute because there's Debbie White in there.
There's nothing.
For goodness sake. You know what I mean? like you got you got. So CeCe is I bet she got mad over this one, but like her name is Priscilla Winans.
Yeah, beautiful lady.
Priscilla. So you got Priscilla. You got Priscilla. You've got Angie Winans, who is Angie and Debbie Winans, who are the younger siblings.
And they were involved in recording too. Yes.
So you got Ronald. I think Ronald looks like here. You got David Winans, who's the oldest. You've got Ronald Winans, who's next. Then you got Marvin Winans, who's twin. Who's twin with Carvin Winans. So imagine if you're a twin brother and your brother's called Carvin and you're Marvin. That is just that would sorry guys, just put it out. Sorry Winans, that would annoy me. You know what I'm saying? And especially if I'm Carvin. You know what I'm saying? You think it's like a knockoff version of Marvin. You know what I'm saying? You know, be inventive, parents. You know the one there. You've got Michael Winans Senior.
That's correct.
And then you've got Daniel Winans, and then you've got Benjamin Winans, BB. You know what I'm saying? And then CeCe Winans is straight after. And you know what's ironic? I'm looking at big family dynamics. Siblings tend to group up to their age and the closest siblings. So when you got families of 8 and 9, and you could say amen if you want to big families, what I've noticed is that the big children kind of know each other better than the little children. The little children have their own little set because they're born in a total different decade than the ones that are older.
They're connected. Yes.
So what you find is like BB and CeCe, they're like next to each other, sibling number 7 and number 8, and then you got like I said, Angela and you got Debbie Winans coming after that. But it's interesting how BB and CeCe they put out some stuff, you know, bro. They put out some music, you know.
Well, okay. So we get started here. Now
that voice, you know, bro. I'm just gonna get BB still popping out now and again because he's got a cheat code voice.
Yeah, he's the only one with that distinguished voice, actually. With that vocal is quite an interesting. Now, let's just look at this. This is the album I'm holding right now, which is Heaven. This is their first gold album, and it was on Capitol Record. Would you believe it? Capitol Record is a major label. 1988.
88, Heaven, you're right. Under with Sparrow. So Sparrow is spelled, over Capitol.
Yeah.
And it looks like before that album, they had BB and CeCe, they just had their own name, BB and CeCe. And when you had Lord Lift Us Up, album was their first, I think, album together. And then, like you said, this was their. And then you got different lifestyles after that.
Yeah, different lifestyles. But let me just
sorry.
Okay, let us look at this very quickly.
Heaven,
where it was recorded. Right.
Oh, okay.
It was recorded some of the stuff was done in Los Angeles, and some was done at Nashville, right? At different studios, you know.
Yeah, it looks like Omni Sound Studios.
At Franklin Studios.
Cool.
Yes. And you have the different
Nashville.
people. Nashville. Now, this is rather interesting. Let's look at the musicians that actually work on it or collaborated with them. Paul Jackson Jr., who's used a lot by Quincy Jones. Gerald Albright, brilliant sax player. Now the legend from the jazz funk sort of situation, urban jazz. Oh, and also Whitney Houston's appeared on this album. Whitney Houston actually appeared on this album, on this gold certified album. Yes, I didn't know that until just show so much. And you should see the strings on this. I mean, these are top end brothers who worked on the strings. Okay. And also, another brilliant information, which does help the gospel music industry goes to another sonic level. There's a group of brothers on strings called the Nashville String Machine. Have you heard about the Nashville String Machine?
No, I'm looking right as we speak now. Because I'm looking at you got them brothers, and you've got Paul Jackson Jr.
Yes,
the famous guitarist.
Yes, that's right. That's right. One of the most outstanding session guitarists in the business.
He's worked with likes of Elton John.
Yes. Patti LaBelle. Yes. There's Alexander O'Neill. Whitney Houston, Temptations. He's gone everywhere. Bad, Thriller. He's worked on all of Sonic. He worked on Thriller, the best-selling studio album of all time. So these are the sort of caliber. Remember their budget now, because they're so good. Their budget has actually stepped up. So their record company.
Do you think from the foundation of the brothers who have obviously succeeded after when they first came through, their brothers were 4 or 5 years into their success. The older brothers, so their parents almost got to say, okay, tell you what, we're not going to send you to Light Records, down to West Coast. We're sending you over to them guys over there. It's almost like that, isn't it? It's almost like that mom and papa Winans were like, "Is right? You know what? We know you're not going over to Light Records because they already got the West Coast. Already got got the Winans."
But remember Sparrow. Sparrow. I can't remember where they're from, but they're in different regions. But Sparrow. Let's see where Sparrow started.
Sparrow was founded in 1976,
and it's probably
a Christian label.
Tennessee. Ben. Was it Ben? There it is. Ben.
Yeah, Tennessee, Brentwood,
Tennessee. Right. So that is that label is actually on the southern states, not too far from UT and Church of God of Prophecy location. You know, this
okay.
You get that reason? Yeah.
So EMI has purchased these guys.
Yes.
So their roster included Amy Grant. You know what I'm saying? Chris Tomlin, jeez.
Yeah, so yes, very.
Oh, so it's not a black label. It's a white. It's a white CCM label.
Yes.
Yo, man, Kari Job.
Yes.
Newsboys. Oh,
yes,
Lord,
yes. And those are best
heavyweight.
Yeah, these are best sellers. And my
Thai tributes on it. Toby Mac.
Yeah, and what's her name? Is it
Tasha Colby?
Who is that?
Torrin Wells, Ricky Dillard.
Yeah, that's right. Who works Torrin?
So hold on a second. So you effectively got the CCM scene watching these West Coast boys, black boys, control the network through like records. And I thought, nah, you're not having these. It could have been narrative.
Okay, let's explain something.
Okay,
by then, there was a bit of a challenge as well with the music industry as well. There were areas of the music industry that was a bit flat, and there's some other areas that. So the majors are always, and remember at that time, Capitol was a big label because that's where the Beatles come from. You see, Capitol.
Wow.
Yes, and Sinatra and so forth.
Wow.
So they actually diversified into gospel music and went on and distribute for Spyro. So Spyro is the label, but Capitol is the distribution label. You follow?
Wow. Yeah, I follow.
The logistics and everything, getting the music. Oh yeah, that's right. See, Capitol Christian section. Yes, Capitol group, which gets the music. They see where they're set up.
Nashville.
Their location is
so
in
this
Nashville.
is really
epicenter for Nashville is the epicenter because you got the string machine, which is a top end musicians that work with Donnie McClurkin.
And Nashville is I know a friend of mine who always goes to Nashville for certain events down there.
Yes, Nashville is a major
hub for Christian music.
Yes, and the Gospel Music Association is based there. The head operation, yeah.
So Bebe and CeCe Winans now, guys, like these guys,
yes.
And they produce, like I said, for me, Lost Without You. I'm lost without you. Jeez,
yeah.
So all that's a tune there still. That's off the Heaven album. But then you've got different lifestyles.
Okay, this is different lifestyles. Okay, different lifestyles. Different lifestyles.
Oh my goodness, you got it right there.
Different lifestyles is go back to the credit there. Different lifestyle. Let me tell you about different lifestyle. Different lifestyle is the first album by a Christian duo that did platinum, a million seller.
What?
Prior to Mary Mary.
Okay.
So they're fine, yes.
Okay.
And look at the people who are working with them. You know, Luther Vandross. You know,
all the brothers helped out, but all the brothers.
Yes, was it Warren, who is the guy who produced what's it called? The Preacher's Wife. He was responsible for that soundtrack. You know.
Okay, cool.
Which actually sold several million copies in the US. So he's another serious brother. Of course, he's from the Seventh-day Adventist, Oakland University.
Luther Vandross, back in vocals, and BV arrangements.
Yeah, and Whitney Houston.
MC Hammer with rap.
Yes, and Whitney Houston. Oh, okay. Mavis Staple, who guessed on number 7 track, which is number 7 track is. Just go back a bit and let me show you what the number 7 track is.
I'll take you there.
Now, this album, this album took, and I'll Take You There was a R&B number 1.
So what's it good? But the Staples did the original one.
Yes.
So
they actually collaborated with the original singer for "I Take You There" to do the new version. Now listen to this. Hold on a minute.
And Whitney Houston did their vocals on track 4 and 10.
Yes.
So Whitney Houston was on the vocals, Better Place, and the Blood. Gee,
yes. So they had two. They had 2 number 1s.
Go on.
From this album on the R&B charts.
Go on.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think this album went number 1 in the R&B charts. Check again.
Okay.
Yes. Go down the bottom. Go down the bottom.
Oh, I think the authentication comes up here chronologically. No.
If you go down the bottom, it will show you. It will go. Look at the credits. See there.
Number 1. Top is achieved top in the R&B charts and top in the gospel, and number 3 in the contemporary gospel.
And then you take that list, click there, and then it would tell you where its position was. Let's see. Keep going. It was around the same time the new Jack Swing. Yes.
Bebe CeCe, different lifestyle.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
It took the top position from Peebo Bryson, Can't Stop the Rain, and he came right in. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
And this is in amongst. And then you got Jodeci a couple of weeks after them. You know what I mean? So this is the period they're coming.
Smoking.
You know what I'm saying?
Smoking. And what year was this again, bro? What year was this? It is 1991.
91.
Yes,
yeah,
91.
Wow.
And by then, by 1991, the gross earning of the gospel music industry was creeping up. It was creeping up. So they progressively impacting the gospel industry.
Wow.
With W. Smith and Steve
what a
Curtis
family.
Chapman and so on. Yes. Okay, so that's one down there. This is the thing about it. The thing about it is that if I was to have to bring all the albums here, it
will be all there. And I think we can't no feed as much as the other siblings. The mom and dad never brought out the hits. The two minor tours for me, the 2 massive entities. Yes, BB did solo albums. But I have to say BB and CeCe and the Winans. And to be honest, BB and CeCe really is the peak element of the Winans family.
Well, that is true. But the CeCe is the better seller because CeCe had gold albums and platinum albums as a solo artist.
This is what you're forgetting it because
don't forget. Let us not forget here as well. Let us not forget as well.
So CeCe, so you can argue and say the brothers did well. Well, BB and CeCe between each other and individually. Because BB worked with...
And then CeCe did a duet with the late Whitney Houston, right? Count on Me, which was a release from the Waiting to Excel album. With the Waiting to Excel, this Count on Me was a gold certified single, a million seller. that both of them duet.
It's like Bebe and CeCe looking at this now. I never really looked at Winans like this, but it's like the Winans brothers was like the unadulterated gospel right hook group. Yeah?
Yes.
But the Bebe and CeCe were like the okay, we are gonna go. It's not a case of being bigger than our brothers,
but they crossover.
That's the
major
word.
crossover.
They
went into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Okay. Look for instance. CeCe, worked on one of the biggest selling black soundtracks of all time, Waiting to Excel. It did 7 million copies in the US. 7 million copies in 1996. There was actually, it was so impacting. There was about 4 or 5 singles that were million sellers from the album, which feature Tony Braxton, Mary J. Blige. You know, the list goes on. That's another discussion. And LaFace Records. It was on LaFace Records, the black-owned label from out of Atlanta. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just giving you an idea. And by the time it was reached 96, the gospel music industry, listen to this, the gospel music industry was doing 688 million. So it jumped the half a billion plateau. The year before, the gospel industry was doing something like 381 million in 95. So it's a 41% jump on the impact of these artists. 41.
Crazy.
And then Donnie McClurkin comes in. Freddie Hammond. Oh, bro. Oops, sorry, it's a banging thing. We're getting excited. I mean, the hits from the black creative community was coming out. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they were doing platinum and gold.
Yeah, man.
This is not small change. Actually, at one point, the gospel sector gross earning was bigger than some of the music markets abroad.
Wow. And you want to emphasize that point, man.
Let's just emphasize that.
And the thing is, we were featuring on soundtracks as well. You know what I'm saying? So you got especially groups like Sounds of Blackness.
Yes. It
was an important part because of, especially when it comes to cultural times, Thanksgiving films and all these business. They're always centered around the church back then. So there was always the case of, I had to have CeCe come and do a song for us. Oh,
yes, that's right.
Always had that. Look
at as I was just saying, the exact gross earning figure for 95 was 381 million. That's the gross earning for 95. So can you imagine? That's a 40% jump from that to nearly 700 million. Zing!
Guys, where
that is. And you know what happened? Isn't that ladies drinking? I'll tell you what happened here. This is what was happening at the same time. I'm giving you some figures. The Latin community, like Brazil, at the same time was doing 1.4 billion.
Jeez.
It's its own music industry. The Latin American and Caribbean market, that includes gospel music and everything, was at that time was doing 2.5 million in 96.
2.5 billion.
2.5 billion.
Yeah, and I think it shows you guys that the inspiration of slave grandchildren in America who had to break through in the 50s and 60s, being under the charts called the race charts, having white people. Let's be real. In the 50s, there's white people polishing their face with black polish and singing songs that similar to us. We had us going on the stage doing tap dancing and being basically show monkeys for the scene. You might think that's rude, but that's the reality. We had the Pimped Our Ride. And then you've seen us evolve and rise up within ourselves and created a great massive businesses and creative giants that now the explosion of black music in America has now infiltrated the African diaspora all around the Americas and the Caribbean. So
That's
you got
correct.
the Caribbean, the diaspora now is rising up. You
Yes.
get the likes of Bob Marley
Yes,
and all these
that's
guys
right.
coming
Yes,
through.
yes, yes.
And then you got in Brazil now.
Oh, yes.
And I
Well,
think
but Brazil, actually,
loads
talking
of
about
people.
that, Brazil has gone back. Brazil had a drop, unfortunately, because mismanagement and corruption in the economy, but it jumped back again, and it's in the top 10. It's part of the top 10 major music markets in the world.
And I think these
I will
are
give you the figures, but it's a serious. They're doing some serious.
And I think music for black people was escapism.
Yeah.
When you listen to Hawkins, when you listen to Andre Crouch, yes, we Christian-wise, we affiliate to the fact that there's a better place. But for the diaspora, gospel music represented escape from the pains of the week. You might think, oh, Roger, you're going too harsh. But then when you really think about it, we always look to the sky because we can't see, because of what we're facing here on the ground, the struggle, the hardship.
Yes, of course.
And then and black music signified and it identifies with struggle. Hip hop was talking about a struggle of young black, obviously people say men, but young black people who wanted to achieve something but struggled to get out because they were stuck in these ghettos that they were the second generation of the migration into the northern states, and they found themselves in these decrepit areas, and their parents came up for better life and they ended up being in concrete jungles. So they made music which they could make themselves out of vinyls and classics that influenced them, and they made beats and started rapping and doing poetic stuff on top of them. And then you have that, and I think the blood and pain of our journey is expressed between amazing music. Bob Marley, it's not birthed out of, I just want to talk about the coconut stand about the world. It's talking about the bondage of black people. And I think as black people, we have to go back to a rootage of what gospel music was there to escape from our struggles, not to ignore them, not to pretend they're not there, not to say there's no such thing going on. It's to say that better days are coming. You know what I'm saying? It's to know that, we're losing loved ones because our husbands can't get a job. Why? Because of his skin color.
Yeah. The thing about it is that when I look at the figures that's coming through from the Kirk Franklin explosion, we've got all the datas there. On average, we go year by year. If you could check out that information, it's on your file there. Check it out year by year. On average, the gospel music year on year, right up to this point, does over $500 million. 2 years, there was 2 years when it grossed nearly $1 billion. When I say $1 billion, you're talking about physical movements of units. I mean, one occasion it was 54.2 million units sold. And that year it was 2007. Of course, that's when Kirk Franklin was doing Hero, and Biden was doing Flow, Piece of My Dream, right? Piece of My Passion, which was also gold. So there was, a matter of fact, 1 year, I think it was probably, if I'm not mistaken, probably about, what was that year was?
Yeah.
Sometime in early 99, 2000, where the music industry had 17 albums that did double platinum. That means it sold 2 million units.
So you got albums like you got
2 million units. It's there. You see that.
So you got Fred Hammond and the Pages of Life, chapters 1 and 2,
gold certified.
You've got Verity's track. You got Spirit of David did really well as well by Fred Hammond. You got We Need to Buy Them.
Just slow down a bit.
Ooh.
So within Biden, remember the key thing about Freddie Hammond, Freddie Hammond and Kirk Franklin is one of the few artists that have double platinum selling albums. They're one of the few in terms of black creatives.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And now there's a lot of I'm talking about black artists. We're not talking about Lauren Dagel, who is you say has gone 6 million copies in the US alone, but that's another dimension.
Okay, cool.
But what I'm saying, we're talking about them before that lady came on the scene. These pioneers, they were instrumental. And what actually happened as well, this is what's interesting. When other eras of the industry was flat, gospel music was selling. Matter of fact, the gospel artists were doing better than their soul and R&B counterparts. Explain that.
Yeah, that's why they did gospel.
Yeah,
tracks.
because that's why when Kurt Franklin's first album came out, Kurt Franklin and the Family, The Reason Why I Sing, which is now a gold record a few years on, and I think it's platinum single too, by the looks of it. That was an answer to the negative response that dealing with the gangster rap nonsense.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember quite vividly when it was getting requests, that the single was getting requests on the R&B secular, the R&B radio station, not the gospel, R&B, over Mary J. Blige and the others. They were getting more requests. And the album was just building. And then one day it went 100,000. I said, okay. 200,000, then spiraling to get up and said, oh, this is serious now.
Yeah.
And when it reached 300,000, remember, it was breaking records.
Yeah.
And then one day it went 500,000 units. Whoa!
Wow.
Because remember, it was a. What was interesting about it? It was a live album, and the first live album to do the platinum selling level was Aretha Franklin, "Amazing Grace," 20 years before, and this album come now and did that as well.
Crazy.
And then Kurt Franklin did it again.
Crazy.
What you're looking for, two platinum albums live, which is unheard of. He broke the record, and it's on a black label, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? How we support things, but I'm going to fly through these because because we got you mentioned about Kurt Franklin tearing it up there.
Yeah,
we got even We Need to Bind Him to the album.
Yes,
A Piece of My Passion.
Yes. That was one of the best selling album by a black artist.
I didn't realise Trinity 5-7. They didn't do too bad themselves. You know what I'm saying?
They had to go,
I mean, you got Kurt Carr.
Yes, he did one with the live album. Awesome Wonder.
Awesome Wonder.
Remember all these?
One hit,
all these that you're looking at. Was on
gospel centric. This is what I'm saying. So you got Kurt Franklin. My goodness sake, but he's just cleaning up as you know.
Yes, it's constant.
He's bringing out God's property. Rebirth. Oh, that was amazing album. Hero. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he keeps on Kurt. Kelly Price.
Kelly Price was more R&B really. But she eventually went
to gospel. She went into gospel. She did sing well. Dave
this
Hollister.
Brother, yes, he's another one. Came out of Blackstreet.
I remember he came through.
And these are the major
gospel labels. Yeah. Verity. Verity. You got Motown Records. RCA. You know what I'm saying? Ty Scott,
which is the oldest black-owned gospel label at the moment.
You know what?
Yes.
You know what's crazy?
What?
I interviewed the sister of the owner of Ty Scott in his room here. No, I didn't interview. She came and said something, and she said that her brother is the head of Ty Scott Records. Yeah. She said that. Yeah, she said that when she came here, she talked to me. She said he's got the same vibe as you. The way his mentality when it comes to gospel.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like I'm only one country.
As the Jamaican said, he doesn't ramp.
Yeah.
He doesn't play around.
Man.
Doesn't do that.
You know what I'm saying? And you got Malaco Records. You know what I'm saying? So you got all these guys. You got
Kurt Franklin's label. Yes.
Yeah. And then you got Yolanda album.
Yes.
CeCe Winans.
CeCe Winans has her own label too. You know.
See, you guys, they're no businessman.
They have their own label, and they score platinum and golds with their label.
You know what I mean? So
look at that. You see the figures there? Just read out the figures.
Yeah,
So
you
read
got
out- you read
19 from 1995. In 10 years, you go from 381 million to 700 million.
And how much? What it says? The
Dollars.
percentage is
Like
80% increase. Look at the year 2003, $688 billion.
It's amazing how
Look at it. Look
how
at that,
our
yeah.
labels in the UK never invested into black gospel in the UK. So it really shows you that they didn't really want black music success, because you know what? This is what happens. Like in the US, they sorted it out themselves, and that forced likes of Sparrow Records 25 years after Andrew Couch was tearing it up to go, we're gonna get a piece of this action. Yeah, and we're gonna be part of this, and it was Bebe and CeCe that really sort of part of it.
Spyro, yes. There were several big sellers in Spyro, actually. But however, what got it interesting is when the majors became distribution. When the major companies like EMI Gospel, they actually give them, they have the market clout and distribution connections and the radio, all that. So the music actually goes into different radio formats that it doesn't go in normally.
And I think as well.
Yes?
I think
Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think in today's world, if you're listening in and you used to just being able to put somebody's name into a search engine, they had none of that search engines before. So if you had EMIA influence, you know that you can get access to that record anywhere potentially in the world.
Yes, anywhere in the world.
Well,
yes,
but if you didn't have that distribution deal, you couldn't get through there.
Well, there's a problem. That's a problem. The independent distribution actually collapsed. It peaked about. That's why in the end, that A&M Records, which is Janet Jackson was on, they could not compete anymore with the majors, because their distribution as an independent operation, their distribution the private distribution has fell apart. So they had to sell on, and and I did to be, or like Motown, to be distributed by MCA Records, right? They came their distribution arm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
because the distribution that Motown was using, most of it collapsed in the end. The independent distribution, because they could not compete, because the majors actually took their market. We want some of that money. Let us go into R&B, and
that's another problem of black success being wiped out. We're looking just to give you some figures to you guys. Black gospel artists in terms of units sold globally. You got Kirk Franklin, 13 million. You got CeCe Winans, can't believe 11 million. You've got Edwin Hawkins, 7 million. James Cleveland,
that's right,
5 million.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Staple singers, 5 million.
Yes.
Yeah. So it made you think, hold on a second. I thought you'd be no. These are the artists are on there, and it's saying, and this is what it was going on in 2006, doing amazing stuff. That was 2005. Let me just go down a little bit still. Make sure I got some finger stats there. So Christian genre, digital sales, and what's it? So this is what's it? So you got Christian genre sales.
I'm giving you a sort of snapshot of a particular year and what was going on. If I was going to give you the whole of it, we'd be there till next week. We can't
you know what's interesting? The segment of black gospel represents 20% of the Christian music industry segment.
It is a major.
But the ironic thing is, rock is under us. But then you would say that rock gets more investment, and the joke is, pop now in Christian music is just a hybrid of black music.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's been look, okay.
I would have stepped in something then.
Yes.
But I think what we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna expand on the next one, because we're gonna expand on the next podcast. We gotta have a break, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna expand on, because we're gonna touch into more the more modern boys, the Marys of the world and whatsoever, and what they're
Warren
coming
Campbell's,
into. You know what I'm saying? So we're coming from the late 90s, early 2000s, and the artists that got with it. So we're progressing a bit more further on. So please forgive us. We have to really come to an end here. here still, yeah, because obviously we were wild with the Winans, and then really these are the artists that were moving. It's just after the Winans or at the same time as the Winans, and Kirk can just have his own thing. We do that separately. Kirk's just
Kirk is a different he's conglomerate.
Man's a gospel brand style, literally.
Label, publishing.
Man, run things, you know.
He's responsible for Tamla.
Yeah.
Was it?
With Tamla Man.
Tamla Man.
Yeah.
See the King and so forth. And all that, you know, he's actually been... He was responsible for the success of Preacher's Wife. He had a track on it, song. It's all over the place, you know, soundtracks in every facet of the
he knows how to lock it down, man. So we'll get to that, guys. We'll get to that, guys. But listen, guys, nothing but love for checking in with us here, guys. This has been a fruitful for me, really, pathway with my history, which is 100% gospel. So I'm not learning the track names. I'm learning about the impact of the tracks and how I loved.
Don't forget Mighty Clouds of Joy, bro. Before we move.
Oh my goodness! Hey! Right, we'll do a special Mighty Clouds of Joy because anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But listen, guys, nothing but love. This is Roger alongside a black music historian out here, which is Kevin Tomlin, author of 6 to Become 7 books, man. Blessings, man.
Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, this is your Bishop. This is your Bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta and wherever you want to find us. On Spotify, you can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.